Interesting. You're eating a chard leaf? I'm totally bullshitting right now. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Hey everyone, welcome to the Amateur Gourmet Show. I'm your host, Adam Roberts, the Amateur Gourmet. Ding! Today we're making my favorite thing to eat in the world, which is pasta. We are making fresh pasta, and not just fresh pasta, we're making ravioli with a ricotta Swiss chard filling. So I hope you're hungry. Here we go. So the first step to making pasta is to make the pasta. And a lot of Italian chefs and experts will tell you to do the well method, which is where you pile your flour up and make a little volcano, crack the eggs into it, and work it in with a fork. That's how Samin does it on salt, fat, acid, heat. That's how so many chefs do it. I personally much prefer using the food processor because it's foolproof. If you follow the right recipe, and in this case I'm using Melissa Clark's recipe, it just all comes together in the bowl, and not only that, it also works the dough, so you don't have to knead it as much on the counter. And so this particular recipe uses all-purpose flour. So I'm going to put in 1 cup, and I'm going to put in 2 cups. People who make a lot of pasta do it by feel. You know, it's like if I did this all the time, I would do the well method and just kind of feel it out. But as a starting point, this is a good way to do it. So we're going to crack 3 eggs. On the ceiling if you want me. And you're gonna marvel at how quickly this comes together. So we're gonna put a little salt in there. And I'm adding a little olive oil to the mixture too, which I think just makes the dough richer. So I'm gonna put the lid on and watch this. We're gonna turn it on and away we go. And so I'm going to add a little water, little more water. With pasta dough, you do want to work the dough. So now we're going to knead the dough. He needs me. This move that I'm about to do is what separates the real cooks from the amateurs, as they say. And that's the dusting of your board with flour. And a real good cook goes like that. Whoops, I just got it all over Winston. Sorry, Winston. Okay, so now we're gonna knead this. This is always fun. And when you knead, you wanna like fold it in half and press with the heel of your hand. Fold it in half again. Press with the heel of your hand. And you really don't have to do it that much because what you're going for now is a smooth dough. And you can already see this is very smooth because, again, we did it in the food processor and didn't do the well method. I feel great about this dough. I mean, doesn't that look beautiful? Stunning! So now we have to do the thing where we let it rest. And to do that, it's as simple as wrapping it in plastic wrap and leaving it on the counter while we make the filling. So I've got 2 cloves here, and we're just gonna cut the ends off, and I'm gonna smash them to get the paper off. And when you smash garlic like that, it exposes the surface area. We've talked about that in previous videos, the surface area. But it's not gonna be in little pieces, so we're gonna pull this out before we add the chard. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pour in some olive oil into this skillet, and I'm gonna just put the garlic in here to sit. It's not gonna hurt it, just to sit in the oil. It's gonna perfume the oil a little bit while we deal with our Swiss chard. Swiss chard is like one of my favorite vegetables because it has a lot of flavor, and you can use both the stem and the leaf, although today we are only using the leaf. And the reason I keep it wet is we're gonna start the garlic in that olive oil, and when we add the chard to it, we want it to start wilting, and the water that's on the chard leaves will help that happen. So we're ready. So we're gonna turn the heat on, and the idea is we're gonna get that garlic going. So as soon as that turns brown, we're going to add all that chard, cook it down. So you can see this is starting to sizzle. And with garlic, you never want to burn it, because once you burn the garlic, not only does the garlic get burned, but it turns the oil rancid. It makes the oil taste like burnt garlic. And the idea here is we're actually perfuming this oil with garlic right now, because we're taking the garlic out, and that garlic flavor is what's going to get inside the chard. All right, I'm going to take these out. And now we're going to hear a big sizzle, Winston. Don't get scared. Told you. All right, so now we're going to add salt. You gotta season it as you go. Perfecto. Remember how much we had to start, and now look how little is there. I think we want it to get cool quickly, so I'll put it in the freezer. Okay, so now let me show you something amazing. This is Bellwether Farms ricotta, and it's my favorite ricotta. The reason I love it so much is that it comes in a little basket, and you might be thinking, okay, Adam, like, what's your deal with baskets? Like, who are you, little Red Robin Hood? But the deal with a basket with ricotta is it drains the ricotta, so you get very thick ricotta, and that's what you want. In fact, if you can't find Bellwether Farms, I highly recommend if you have a very wet ricotta before you make ravioli, I recommend lining like a sieve.
Right the first time.
And line it with some cheesecloth and put the ricotta in there and leave it in your refrigerator overnight and let it get thick, because you want a thicker ricotta, will make a better filling. Okay, so this was in the freezer while I cleaned up a little bit. As you can tell, my kitchen is immaculate. That's for you, person in the comments who said I'm a very messy cook.
You're so bad!
Just kidding, I didn't read that. Okay, so we're gonna take this chard is a little wet still. So we're going to take this very, very clean kitchen towel, and I'm going to add the chard to it. Ooh, look at all that liquid. So with that out, now we're gonna put it back on the board, and you're gonna see, you're gonna laugh, you are going to cackle when you see how little chard is left.
We'll see about that.
I mean, this is from all that chard that we put. Here's the ricotta, which I'm going to add to this bowl. Look how pretty. See the basket? I'm not kidding. The basket makes it so beautiful. And now, this is a very important step, which is going to be chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping until this can fit inside the ravioli seamlessly. Okay, so I think that's good. I think we got it really fine. And now is the really fun part where we're going to combine it with the ricotta. And now we're going to flavor it. Now I'm going to say something shocking here. This is going to maybe alienate some of my viewers. And it's a really hard thing to say because Ina Garten is my hero, but I find her to be a huge hypocrite on one specific subject, and that is the subject of nutmeg. Because she's always telling you to use the best quality ingredients, but when she uses nutmeg on her show, she uses pre-ground nutmeg, which is like sawdust. And if you buy nutmeg whole, you get to grate it yourself, and when you grate fresh nutmeg, to me, it tastes so much better, and it has such a great fragrance to it. Oh my god, smell that. So if Ina Garten, you're watching this, which I'm sure you are, please, I beg of you, buy your nutmeg whole.
I'm shocked.
Okay, so we're doing nutmeg, we're doing lemon zest. Now, traditionally this filling has Parmesan, but I actually happen to have some ground pecorino. So we're gonna add that, and then the only other thing we're gonna add is a little olive oil, just for richness. And then we're going to mash it up in the fork. Okay, so now the time has come. This is the big moment. We are going to roll out our ravioli. We're going to fill it, we're going to stamp it, and then we're going to boil it and eat it. Yeah. So if you're an Italian grandmother, if you're an authentic Italian cook, you will have a hand-rolling pasta maker. And I actually have one, and it's great. It's really fun for two people, because one of you can crank the pasta and one of you can pull it out. I got this pasta rolling attachment from my KitchenAid, and I love it because it makes it so much easier because you can just roll it through and you don't have to be cranking it. And here's our well-rested dough. And I'm gonna once again dust this very professionally and try not to get it on the dog with flour. And now we're gonna dust this with flour. And the thing with flour at this stage is you do wanna use flour to make sure it doesn't stick to the machine as it's rolling through. So now we're going to cut this into 4. And all 4 pieces are going to get rolled through the machine. And we want to roll it through until we can see our hand through it. So not to the thinnest setting, but almost to the thinnest setting. So here's what I'm doing. I'm shaping it like this. Winston is just like eating flour off the floor. And you get a little square. Look how pretty this looks. Doesn't this look good? And we're going to turn up the machine. And then, I mean, this is so fun, isn't it? And every time you pass it through, you're working the dough a little bit more, and it's getting more tooth, so you're working the gluten, so it's actually good for it. You do want to flour it through each step so it doesn't stick. The worst thing that could happen is that it sticks. So I think this is perfect. So now I'm going to go to the next thinner setting. And we're going to go through again. And this time it's going to get a little longer because it's a little thinner. It's pretty simple. So then I'm going to go to the next setting. And we're going to go through again. And each time it's getting thinner and thinner. But I'm starting to see my hands through it. So I'm going to go, let's see, we're on 5. I'm going to go to 7. Look at that beautiful, beautiful pasta dough. There we are. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to dust it again with flour a little bit. And we're going to store it on this pasta sheet, which I've spread with some semolina flour, which is a little coarser, just so it doesn't stick. Okay, so we're going to do this all again. Same exact thing that we just did. So I'm going to take my little scooper duper, go like that. You want to make sure it's not too smushed out. And then I'm going to do it one more time here. And now we're going to brush around it with egg yolk. And we're doing that so that the other piece of dough sticks. So you want to get the air out of the inside. You want to press down to seal with the egg yolk. And you want to get right up to the filling. And you'll see when we stamp it out, it's going to really look like ravioli. So here's the stamper. Stick the stamper in the flour. Stick the stamper over the ravioli and press and twist. And that is a beautiful piece of homemade ravioli. What we're going to do the way that I think it's supposed to normally go, which is that you put the filling here. So I'm going to fold this over. And this is more traditional. I think this is how more Italians make their ravioli. So then we're going to see, like, we want to seal it, but we want it to have enough room on the outside that we can cut it with the ravioli cutter. So now is the moment of truth. We're going to use this ravioli cutter and dip it in flour. So let's see. So we're going to go like that. Oh, go like that. Go like that. Hey, that's pretty cool. And we got a square ravioli. And the cutter actually pinches it together for you, so pretty good. But truthfully, looking at this, I think I still prefer the stamp. The key is to fold it over, as we've all learned the hard way. That's so funny. I could have done this the whole time and not wasted all that dough, huh? I mean, if this was Gordon Ramsay and he was here watching me do this, I'd probably have my head bitten off.
You shit.
So this is a great trick I'm going to teach you guys right now. Get ready. You're going to have your mind blown. But when you make fresh pasta like this, if you don't want to use it right away, shake it on a sheet with semolina, pop it in the freezer, and freeze it on the sheet until they're frozen. Put them in a freezer bag, and whenever you want to have fresh ravioli, drop it in your water. Here you go. So this may shock you. You have a big pot of water here. It needs a lot of salt. It's the only real way to make your pasta flavorful is to salt it really well, is what I'm trying to say. So the other thing is you really want it at a rolling boil. So while that's happening, we're going to make the sauce. And this sauce is not going to be one for people with high cholesterol. It's going to be a whole stick of butter that we are going to brown a little bit. And then we're going to stop the cooking with pasta water. So it's all about timing. Basically, you want to drop the pasta. It's going to take like 3 to 5 minutes. And you want some of the flour and the starch from the pasta to get into the water to help make the sauce. So it's all about timing. So in goes 1, in goes 2, and you'll see that they start to go to the bottom, and you'll know they're ready when they float.
Oh yes, they float.
Meanwhile, this is happening, and you can see the butter is starting to color a little bit at the edges. And I don't want it to be like crazy dark brown. I just want a little bit of a brown butter vibe. So you can tell butter is starting to get brown when it gets a little nutty. All right, so I think we have brown butter. And here we're going to take the pasta water. It's going to spatter, so stand back. And the more pasta water that we add, the more it becomes a sauce. Yeah, I think they're ready. So I'm gonna lift them into the skillet with the butter. I mean, how bad can that be, to quote Ina Garten? Sorry, Ina, I know I was really mean to you in this video. And notice, like, now it's cooking in here, and it's taking in all that brown butter sauce. My beautiful Swiss chard and ricotta ravioli. And then the only thing that it needs, if it needs anything at all, is a little cheese on top. There are no words. There's no words for something that beautiful.
I should have said a poet.
Alright everyone, well this is my Swiss chard ricotta ravioli and brown butter sauce, which I'm so excited to eat. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, be sure to share this video, tell your friends, and if you want to follow me on Instagram at Amateur Gourmet, or subscribe to my newsletter, the Amateur Gourmet newsletter on Substack. Alright, here we go. First bite. Mmm.